Hey, good Thursday morning, folks. Thanks so much for joining me here on Wave Now. I'm Myra Ansari. We are going live to LMPD headquarters. LMPD Chief Paul Humphrey is going to be talking about the progress LMPD has made in 2025 through its crime reduction strategic plan, as well as the department's continued implementation efforts and priorities for 2026. There is a press conference that's getting ready to get started here, so we wanted to bring that to you live today. Let's listen in.
We'll get started, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here for our normal bi-weekly press update. So we'll go through a few things today. We'll give you some updates on the crime numbers, kind of where we stood at the end of the year last year, where we're going from here. And then I'll turn it over to Deputy Chief Emily McKinley, who's going to go over some more specific things going on. So when we look at the end of the year last year compared to 24, you can see when it comes to crime, we're down all across the board, and that is exactly what we are shooting for. Homicides down 21%, fatal shootings, non-fatal shootings, carjackings, all of those are down. They're going in the right direction. As we talk about these stats going in the right direction, I want to emphasize that there is no goal. There is no finish line in this. We have to keep pushing. This comes from a combination of strategy, hard work, community collaboration, and some luck. So we want to make sure that all of those things continue, and we continue to push those things in the right direction so we can make sure that we keep our citizens safe. Again, continuing those trends, the one thing that we did see that increased last year were auto thefts. So our burglaries of homes and businesses went down, auto thefts went down, but thefts of items out of cars did go up. And that is something that is concerning, and we're paying attention to so that we can make that trend go in the same direction. I will say that we've recovered many stolen cars. We've put a lot of cases on people who have been stealing cars, particularly some of those cases that we've talked about recently from the 2nd Division, the 3rd Division. The 3rd Division just arrested 2 individuals in relation to multiple car break-ins. A 20-year-old named Chrisanne Lambreth and another juvenile. And you can expect more of that type of work. These detectives understand the impact that car theft and thefts from auto have on people's sense of safety and their sense of security. And so we want to make sure that continues to be a focus. Another place that I'm very proud of is to be able to take the number of traffic fatalities down. Nobody wants to get a speeding ticket. I understand that, but we probably all deserve them. But there is a direct correlation between speed and traffic safety, and we do need to bring the speed down in this community. And I think the traffic officers are out there doing a good job all around the city, and we've seen a result of traffic fatalities going down. And those are lives saved, just like lives saved from homicides that have been prevented and less victims. One of the things that's a huge factor here that we have to think about is officer activity. We want to drive officers to go out there and do work. These are all, the graph on your screen shows a 48% increase in officer proactivity. Those are runs that are not results of being dispatched from a call from service. So these are officers who are proactively going out there, initiating whatever type of contact it is, from traffic stops or just getting out, walking the beat, talking to people, checking in on businesses, those types of things. And so that's what you see as a corresponding result of improved safety for people and a better relationship with the community, because we've seen time and time again that the community is asking us to be more visible. They're asking us to be more available. They're asking us to be more proactive, and officers are doing that, and it's paying off. We continually talk about, I know it comes up, juvenile crime. And fortunately, actual numbers when it comes to juvenile violent crime have gone down slightly. But what you see in this is you see, while homicides went down just a little bit, non-fatal shootings went down just a little bit, our arrests of juvenile suspects in those things have gone up. And what that's a result of is good investigations, going after the right people, the people that are out here committing violent crime. And if you're committing violent crime, it does not matter if you're over 18 or under 18. You're on our radar, and we are coming for you. And we need people to know that. And that's a result of these detectives who are out here doing an absolutely great job of pursuing these people. Our SFI areas, our sustained focus improvement areas that are part of our crime plan. I think you're all familiar with it at this point. We have changed one of those areas for 2026 to include the California neighborhood. But the crime trends in those 5 census blocks, those very small areas, had an outsized effect on crime in this city. And so by focusing on those, it has an outsized effect on improving crime in this city. And you can see that those numbers in those areas are down also. And those will continue to be a point of focus. And we intend to sustain that reduction by continuing to focus those city resources. This isn't just about making arrests in those areas. This isn't just about officer proactivity. This is really about how do we improve these areas for the community long term. When we say sustainable, we mean sustainable. So how are we cleaning up trash? How are we boarding up those vacant houses in those areas? Those signs of blight that we know are attractors of crime, that make criminals feel comfortable in those areas, we are trying to clean those up. And that's one of the things I'm most proud of, is this crime plan that was put together by the command staff and rolled out, and the rest of the city entities getting on board with it. It's been really amazing to see the collaboration of all the different city entities working towards one goal. Lastly, for me, I'll talk about the post-interaction surveys that we're sending out via Zen City. And these go out to people after they've called the police and had some sort of interaction. And what you see is that just, in a month's time, we're still working to improve the reliability, the trust, the professionalism. Those are going up. And so those are real interactions with real people who are not just giving anecdotal feedback. This is feedback because they've had interactions with us. So this tells us how officers in the community are interacting. This tells us how we're communicating. This gives us how the community feels about the interactions that they have with police officers. So this is a good barometer for us. It's going to go up and down. We get that. There's going to be negative feedback, as there should be. But overall, I would say this is pointing in a positive direction. It's the direction that we want it to go. And I'm very proud that we've increased that proactivity by as much as we have. We've increased our arrest. We are locking up violent criminals. We're getting people off the street. Yet at the same time, we're improving all of these interactions with the community. So that points to how officers and even the professional staff are doing the work that needs to be done and doing it the right way. With that, I will turn it over to Deputy Chief Emily McKinley to give you an update on a few things.
All right. Good morning. Thank you, Chief. Again, my name is Emily McKinley. I'm Deputy Chief for LMPD. Let's see. Last week or earlier this week, we talked about the body-worn camera footage from the officer-involved shooting over on Bardstown Road. We want to provide some additional footage for you all that we did not play when we released the body-worn camera footage. But this footage is from a dash cam video of another officer that was on scene. This is just provides a different angle. So I'm going to play the video, but you will see If you recall from the other previous videos that we've shown, there's two vehicles that are going to approach this traffic stop that our officers are on. You'll see that vehicle approach that stop, and you'll see the driver of that vehicle exit his car and fire in a direction to the left of the camera here. So this video is about 50 seconds long. There is no sound. This is from an in-car camera video. So I will play that at this point. So again, the officers approach him and render aid, and then they're able to figure out that this victim had been chased by Winthrop Taylor, who had fired shots at his vehicle. He approached the traffic stop, and he was shooting at Winthrop Taylor's vehicle as Winthrop Taylor drove from that scene. So that is what is occurring in this video. I just wanted to provide some additional footage for you all from that investigation. Again, that investigation is still ongoing. The criminal investigation is ongoing, and as well as the administrative investigation. And then on New Year's Eve, we had a homicide on East Market in the McDonald's parking lot. There was a female that was shot and killed in that parking lot of McDonald's. That was on New Year's Eve night. This is the female who was wanted. So this is Shauna Jones. She's a 39-year-old Black female, 5'6", 150 pounds. She does have a distinct neck tattoo, and she is wanted for murder that in relation to that homicide in the McDonald's parking lot on East Market Street on December 31st of 2005. If anybody has any information of where she may be, we encourage people to call our tip line. It can be anonymous at 574 LMPD. Again, this is another case that we're asking for the public's help. So this is a non-fatal shooting. This was on this past Monday. A 17-year-old was shot at this location. There was some sort of altercation at PRP High School where this 17-year-old's backpack was stolen. He and his father were going to retrieve that backpack from these three subjects. So these are three individuals here that are involved in that. They were going to try to confront them to retrieve that backpack. In doing so, these three individuals shot at their vehicle, the victim's vehicle, as they approached this corner where they were. This is at Dover and Beanock Road in the 2nd Division. And then the victim was shot in his leg. He went to University Hospital. He has non-life-threatening injuries and it is expected to survive. But these are the suspects that are involved. We are working closely with JCPS Police Department in attempting to identify these individuals and gain more information as far as the altercation that may have took place at PRP High School with this stolen backpack. We are asking for any information that anybody might have on this investigation. This vehicle that is seen in these pictures is believed to be the suspect's vehicle. It's believed to be a newer model crossover SUV. Unknown who it would be registered to, but we believe this was the vehicle that the suspects arrived in and fled in. Again, if anybody has any information, you can see these three individuals, some clothing descriptions, all black clothing. There is some markings, some white markings on some of their jackets. And then you see one of them who has a very large handgun with a very large extended magazine that you can see in that picture. I know it's a little blurry, but that is a handgun with a very large extended magazine. So anyway, asking for any information. Again, this goes back to the juvenile crime. We are seeing more victims, but we're seeing less victims, but we're also seeing more arrests. And we are able to get those arrests through information from the community. So anyway, asking for more information for this case. With that, I will turn it back over to Chief Humphrey for questions and to close this out.
So a couple of final things. We do have an academy that will be starting on July 20th. The application period is still open for that. So we encourage people to go to lmpdjobs.com. You all hear us sit up here and talk about some of the stuff that we do. And, when we go out in public, sometimes we get tired of people asking us about our jobs. It can be kind of a pain in the butt at times because it's easy for us to forget that the stuff that we do is not normal. We get to be involved in some really crazy stuff. We get to step in at the most chaotic, worst moments in people's lives and try to change that for the better. It's not something you get to do every day. And sometimes I think it's easy to lose sight of how fortunate we are to get to do this job, how exciting this job is. I mean, we've got like 8 cameras here, 5, 6, 7 reporters here, because y'all want to ask us about us doing our jobs. So my encouragement is that you go out here and put in your application to do this job because it's pretty dang exciting. One of the other things I want to talk about before, as we wrap it up, is that heading into 2026, as I said, homicides are down, violent crime is down. That's great. I think going into this year, we all would have been very excited to have homicides under 130. Since 2020, we haven't had under 145 homicides, I think. And we're now looking at homicides under 115. That's not good enough. We still have to keep pushing it because while that difference, that delta are lives saved, it's still too many lives lost and still too many victims and victims' families out there. And so I want to keep encouraging officers to go out there and do that work that they're doing. This doesn't happen by accident. This is a process of collaboration between the community and their involvement and their lack of tolerance for violent crime, along with the men and women, both sworn and professional staff of LMPD that are taking a proactive role in making sure they keep this city safe. As we talk about some of these things, obviously we talk about a lot of serious things. I don't know how many people got to see the sunrise this morning, but every now and again, I think if I can give any advice to you, just take a little moment to appreciate life. Take a little bit of a moment to appreciate the little things. I probably got literally 6 to 10 phone calls and pictures about this sunrise this morning. It was pretty neat. So when you get an opportunity to just take a deep breath, take a look up at the sky and realize that things aren't all as terrible as sometimes it might feel, especially for you all sitting here in the news industry. You can get caught up just like we can on just only paying attention to the bad things. So take a step back every now and again, take a deep breath and appreciate the fact that we are alive and there are simple things in life that can make us happy. With that, I will turn it over to you all for questions.
2 quick questions. You guys determined yet who fired the shot that injured the victim in the Bardstown Road case?
So about the determining who's fired the shot who injured the victim on the Bardstown Road case, no, that's going to be part of the process. And when we learn that information and put that out, we will.
And on the McDonald's case, can you say anything about what the relationship and or motive may have been for that shooting?
I don't have that information.
Yeah, sorry, we don't have any more information on that. Sorry.
Speaking of working for LMPD, where are your staffing levels, specifically for sworn officers?
We can get you the exact number on what staffing is right now. We're still around 1060, I believe. So up a little bit from a couple of years ago, but everybody needs to understand that improving staffing is we're not going to snap our fingers all of a sudden, right? Between the hiring process and going through the academy, that's a long process. And so to recover 250, 300 positions that we were short, it's going to be a multi-year process. But we intend to make sure that we chip away at it and improve every year.
In the crime overview, you mentioned that you want to see those numbers in homicides and violent crimes decrease. Is there anything that you're doing differently from last year to this year to do that, to see the numbers fall more?
Well, as I mentioned, as far as doing anything differently, our overall structure of our crime plan is staying the same. So as far as changing things, big picture, no. I think what we're doing is in the right direction. We need to do more of it better. We have changed one of our SFI areas, one of our sustained focus improvement areas, because the data led us to change that census tract over to the California neighborhood. But increasing community involvement, increasing officer proactivity, making sure that we're concentrating and focusing on the right people. Those are all the things that we need to be doing. And that's the things that evidence shows are most effective. And so we want to make sure that officers are driven to do that.
Another thing, back on crime.
Can we rotate, please?
Chief, do you have any, I'm so sorry.
Just to clarify, are the boundaries of the Russell SFI changing to include California, or are those boundaries for Russell? I think Russell falls within 2 SFIs.
Right. So the question was about the boundaries of the Russell SFI. No, those haven't changed. These are based. We didn't arbitrarily pick the streets. We did it by the government census tracts, and so it is not changing that one. It is just adding the census tract of the California neighborhood.
Okay.
Chief, any comment on the situation in Minneapolis yesterday with an ICE-involved shooting, and how folks in Kentucky can kind of take that in, understanding that there perhaps has been ICE involvement in our own state?
So the question was about the shooting involving ICE up in Minneapolis. I think you heard their chief say that this was predictable. I mean, I think that's obvious that this was a predictable outcome. When it comes to the tactics, that remains to be determined. But there's a reason why we have policies that say don't put yourself in a bad position. That's why we have policies surrounding shooting at people inside of vehicles. It seems like it was something that, based on tactics, could have been easily preventable. And it's an absolute tragedy what's going on up there. And I really feel for that community, and I feel for that police department. They've been through a lot. I know they're canceling all their off days. They're dealing with protests, and I hope that protest remains lawful and peaceful. And it's people expressing their First Amendment rights the way that they should. And so keep them in our prayers. But yeah, we're fortunate to have a community that doesn't have that going on here. So.
In relation to crime at businesses, the shooting that happened at McDonald's, there was also a shooting that happened at Lenny's Lounge in the Klondike neighborhood that was involving juveniles. Is there anything that this department is doing to address these crimes that we are seeing, these violent crimes that we're seeing happen at businesses?
Yeah, so as far as the violent crimes at businesses, this is one place, and I'll separate McDonald's versus some of the other places, because usually places like McDonald's or whatever, those are by chance. But there are businesses like Lenny's that we've seen. We've seen issues at 26th and Broadway, and we see issues pop up at different places. And this is one of the things that I'm very proud of our collaboration, particularly with ABC, Alcohol Beverage Control, on trying to get these places regulated and, when need be, shut down. Business owners have a responsibility to make sure that their patrons are safe. And so the accountability extends beyond the individual. It extends to the business as well. And so if those businesses are not doing the things that they need to do to keep their patrons safe, they need to be shut down, and they need to be kicked out of business. And so we will continue to work with ABC and zoning and planning and making sure that those businesses, when they're not doing what they're supposed to, are held accountable as well.
One other.
Yes.
Yesterday, Mayor Greenberg mentioned using AI just across, the city. Is that something that you're doing with the police department? I know that in some places, police departments have used AI to write police reports. Is that something that we, are going to see, or that you're deciding to implement in your work?
So the question was about the implementation of AI within the police department. I think obviously everybody's talked about how AI is changing the world. And I think there's a lot of places that we can use AI. And we've had discussions about that. When it comes to writing things like police reports or arrest citations or search warrants, that's not something that I have the appetite to do within LMPD. I think we'll let some other agency be the Supreme Court test case for that. And I think there's a lot of kinks to get worked out. When you're talking about Fourth Amendment and taking, when we lock up somebody, we are taking their rights away. We are suspending their rights. We're doing it legally, but we're suspending their rights. a person needs to do that. That shouldn't be AI that does that. So there's a lot of kinks to work out before that is a widely accepted usage within our profession.
Do you have an update on Asa McNeely, who was in the second most recent officer involved shooting?
Right. So as far as we know with Asa McNeely, I know he was released by the judge from custody yesterday. He is still hospitalized in critical condition. And as his condition changes, will be updated by the hospital. And we'll make sure the courts remain abreast of what's going on with his condition.
Last one, Alexis.
When it comes to the post-interaction survey, so once you all give those results, what happens next?
So as far as the results of the post-interaction surveys and what we do with those. So recently, we do something called department-wide roll calls, at least quarterly. And that's an opportunity for us to put out information in person to every single member of the agency. And that's something that we talked about in our last department-wide roll calls is how are the public, how are the people in this community responding to your interactions and how can we improve those? And so we're obviously very early in the game with the post-interaction surveys, but as a command staff, we're working to use those as a barometer for the feedback that we need to give to officers. The same as, looking at crime stats or any other data set, data is only as good as how you use it. And so we are trying to make use of giving feedback to officers on the places where they're doing well so they can sustain that. I think we can often get caught up in just looking at the places where we're performing poorly. But we also want to look at the things that we're doing well and make sure we sustain that and make sure it's intentional. It's not just by chance. It's not because Monroe and Alexis are really good individually, but as a profession, it's not working out. We want to make sure that that's the standard across the board. And then what are the things that people are less satisfied about and why are they less satisfied about it? And then what changes can we make to improve that?
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Y'all have a good one. Thank you for being here. See you. Hope you had a good holiday. Yeah, good.
I can try to get you more on that one.